I've always loved the cabin in the woods, my grandfather's legacy, a place where I spent many happy summers as a child. I wish I could have kept it in my memory like that, but in a terrible way, everything turned out differently. After he died, I inherited it, and I decided to visit it one last time before I sold it. I drove along the familiar forest road that led to the cabin. I arrived just before sunset and felt a pang of nostalgia when I saw the wooden structure surrounded by pine trees. I parked my car, grabbed my stuff, and went to the door. I unlocked it with the old key and stepped inside. The cabin was dusty and dark, but for me it still had a cozy feel to it. I decided to make a fire and warm up the place. I sat some time on my grandfather's old sofa, let my thoughts drift away to happy childhood memories. When my eyes got weary, I decided to call it a night, so I lay on the old bed and closed my eyes. I drifted off to sleep and dreamed of my grandfather. In the middle of the night, I woke up to a loud noise. I jolted up and looked around, panicked. I saw that the window was broken and there was glass on the floor. At first, I thought this must have been a storm, but then I heard a terrifying growl that convinced me it was not the storm. I turned my head and saw a dark shape in the shadows. I felt a surge of fear. In the first reaction, I reached for the lamp, hoping that it was just my imagination. I turned it on and gasped. There was a creature in the cabin entry. It was huge, hairy, and had glowing eyes. It had claws, teeth, and horns. It was the most terrifying thing I had ever seen. It snarled and looked straight in my eyes as it was moving in my direction. In my panic, I grabbed a book and threw it at the creature. It hit it in the face and made it flinch but did not stop it. I ran to the cabin door, but it was locked. No time to play around with the old lock to open it. I panicked, tried to think of another way out this horror. Then I remembered the old closet, or rather, what was in it. I sprinted to it, opened it, and to my relief, saw the old shotgun. I remembered the old times again when my grandfather used to take me to hunt with him. So, I knew he kept a gun in the cabin. I grabbed it, loaded it. I turned around and faced the creature, my heart pounding heavily. It was coming towards me. To my luck, slowly but menacingly. It knew that I had a weapon, and it was cautious. It growled and bared its teeth. I aimed and fired. I hit it in the chest and made it stagger. I fired again, hit it in the head. It fell to the ground and stopped moving. I breathed a sigh of relief and dropped the gun. I had killed it. I had survived. Was this all a dream? To get a fresh head, I stepped outside and tried to catch my breath. I saw the moon and the stars. Then my gaze came back to the creature's body on the floor. As I looked closer, I noticed something odd. It looked like the beast had shreds of my grandfather's old plaid shirt on. I also noticed his old inherited pocket watch, which he sometimes wore. I shuddered and thought, why has this beast my grandfather's stuff on him? My grandfather has died in a car accident. The old car burnt down completely. Or, can it be? All of a sudden it seemed clear to me. I became pale again. Was the beast my grandfather? I knew he used to read some strange books about dark magic, was obsessed with it. It all made sense now. He must have been cursed and turned into a beast, then faked his own death somehow. As a beast, he had been living in the woods, hiding from the world. He must have seen me arrive and recognized me. Maybe the human part in him took over. I started crying. I was devastated, felt a wave of guilt and grief. I fell to my knees, hugged him, and cried. As I cried next to the beast who was my grandfather, I heard a faint whisper in my ear. It said, "Your grandfather has died a long time ago when you were a child. I have killed him a long time ago, not you." Then the creature vanished. I was panicking. The world spinned around. I grabbed my car keys and ran into the night and drove away. I never returned to that cabin.